a dog bites a human, you will have a large, news around it. Everyone would read the news and be like, oh, Rottweiler bit this person, this breed I have to be afraid of. But that's not always the case, right? There's a big difference between a trainer and a behaviorist, right? A behaviorist is much more veteran compared to a trainer, right? And these are the people that we ended up working with, training their dogs. People, there was someone who had a Great Dane, right? And the Great Dane bit the maid of the house, like actually bit him, right? So maid has to go to hospital, a lot of things, right? Now at this point, the family was thinking, should we even keep the dog?
Right.
Because it might just attack someone else in the family. Now canine distemper is a deadly disease. Once you have it, more or less your fate is sealed, right? So we sort of send our vets there, right? To make sure, you ease the pain, you improve the life of as many pets as you can there. Because a lot of people were even hesitant to go there. Because canine distemper is something like, similar to, I would say, COVID. If your doctor has gone there, we do not send the doctor anywhere else after this.
This is my personal experience, right? Suddenly there are people who've not had problem with that pet, with a particular pet for a while. They start looking at it with a different view. And then suddenly the WhatsApp, the Telegram gets flooded with messages that we need to abandon pets. We need to get rid of all the pets. You can't allow strays, this, that and all.
I'll share a personal story. So when I was in 11th standard, I went to my friend's house who had a dog, right? And I actually went to the house to play with the dog more than the pet, right? But the funny thing was, this is the first time I'm meeting this dog. And this guy just releases his pet on me. And it's a large Labrador, 40 kg, big dog, right? And I got scared at that time because I wasn't used to having them around so much, right? So I would call Maya a miracle baby, right? So Maya's mother, she was abandoned by the breeders, right? Because she was sick. And if you look at the breeding industry, they would abandon the dog the moment they are sick, right?
Let me start by thanking everyone for all the support and watching our first episode with Sri Harsha Ramkumar sir. I really hope that you liked that conversation. As most of you may already know, I was blessed with a baby girl and a niece on the same day. Thus, the delay in uploading this second episode. I was lucky enough to have a conversation with Nikhil Bansal, who is the co-founder of Kuddle. Now, what is Kuddle? It's a pet servicing company that not just offers pet products, but also offers a wide array of services such as dog training, dog behaviorist, dog walking, and many more. Please do go and check out what Kuddle does. Our conversation started from why should you even have a pet and what does it feel to have a pet? Because I've had a pet and many of the pet parents would remember the initial journey, the difficulties they would have faced if you are a new pet parent. If you're someone who already has a pet, then this episode is for you. If you're someone who's planning to get a new pet, then this episode is definitely for you. And if you're someone who doesn't like pets, please watch this episode because you'll hear a lot of things which may change your perception about pets. Let me assure you, this is not a sponsored podcast. I was just lucky enough to get in touch with Kuddle and understand what they do. I thoroughly enjoyed today's conversation. I just hope that you take out a lot of insights on your pet parenting journey. Thank you so much, Nikhil, to agreeing to do this. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. It's our pleasure having you. So what is Kuddle? Tell us the story behind it.
So I'll tell you about Kuddle in 3 words. Pet parenting partner. That's exactly what we are. We are the pet parenting partner in your parenting journey. Right? So Kuddle, we started Kuddle back in 2021. Right? The idea of Kuddle was born a year before that, where we started talking to pet parents, around 1,000 pet parents across Bangalore. Right? We used to go to pet parks like Cubbon parks or gated societies and used to meet a lot of parents and try to understand what are the problems that they are facing. Right? And the major learnings we had was majority of the pet parents were first-time pet parents. Like easily 90 to 95% people were first-time pet parents.
Mostly during COVID time.
This was during the COVID time. Right? Because during COVID, a lot of folks adopted pets because they wanted a companion with them, right? And because sometimes it's also because of the peer pressure. My friends and families are in adopting, so I also want one. And getting a pet is very, very easy, right? But taking care of one is quite difficult,
I know.
right? Because of the majority the information gap. It's not a hereditary information that you get from your parents, right? Your pet's need and your friend's pet's need might be very, very different altogether,
Right.
right? So during our research for that entire year, right, we realized that the information gap is huge because the consumer and the decision maker are two different entities here, right? Your pet is the consumer, you are the decision maker, and there is no direct communication happening here.
Very different equation.
Yeah, very different equation, right? Like if you want to buy something for yourself, you know this. I'll search this on Amazon and get it, right? But for your pet, they cannot exactly tell you. You are the one who has to take care of them for their entire life, and you need to be aware of things, right?
Right.
And the service market, when we looked at it, it's quite unstructured, right? There are local services which are there, people using low quality products just to keep their costs low, and you don't have other options, right? And it's not like these pet parents don't want to invest in their pets. They treat them like their babies, but they're not sure where to go and what needs to be done.
Right.
So that's when we started Kuddle to solve these problems, to make the lives of pets better and make the pet parenting journey also simpler for the parent.
I've had a pet, and not everyone understands this. But what do you think having a pet is actually? How does it feel to have a pet?
So it's like having a companion that you can love and trust, right? For me personally, the moment when I got my pet, Maya, a lot of things changed in my life, personally, professionally, right? Personal perspective, when you come back home, you see your pet. I mean, you look forward to coming home, right? That's the first thing you see. It's like a baby for you. Just looking at them brings you joy, right? You get a routine in your life, in fact, right? For someone like a techie like me, you sleep at 2 o'clock in the night and wake up at 10 in the morning. When you get a pet, you have to wake up at 7. You have to take them out for a walk. And there's a joy to it, right? It's not about, it's the work for me. I like doing that for my dog, right? It's fun for me.
You mentioned you were a techie. So prior to starting Kuddle, you were doing something to do with tech?
Yeah, I mean, even in Kuddle, I take care of tech and product.
Okay.
Right. Prior to Kuddle also, I was doing that at a company called Udaan.
I have a question for you. Do you think we can treat pets like humans?
I think to a large extent, we are doing that today. We treat them like our babies, right? But a few things we need to look at, right? The mentality of a human and a dog is very different.
How so?
Okay. So dogs inherently have a pack mentality, right? They want a leader. They want to follow certain rules and regulation. So even if you look in the wild, in terms of wolf packs, right? There is one alpha and the entire pack is following the alpha, right? With humans, we are, more complicated beings, right? We tend to break rules more than follow rules, right? So raising a child and raising a pet is similar in certain ways. You have to take care of them both with love and care. But the mental aspect is very different for both of them, right? A child's need might be very different and a pet's need might be very different.
True. I think we discussed some great things so far and we've gotten off to a great start. I just want to ask you one intense question. So I know of some people who usually don't prefer to visit homes that have pets, or sometimes don't prefer to eat at homes where there are pets because of different reasons. Do you think this is because of pet grooming or lack of training or lack of absolute knowledge of what needs to be done?
Yeah. So it's a lack of information which is out there, right? People are not aware that dogs as beings are very caring and loving. They think of dogs as, that it might attack me, it might bite me, because you have seen instances like that, maybe in the news. Generally, negative instances are the ones which get highlighted more. If a dog bites a human, you will have a large, news around it. Everyone would read the news and be like, oh, Rottweiler bit this person, this breed I have to be afraid of. But that's not always the case, right? When you're coming to someone's house who has a dog is just probably coming to you just to sniff you, right? I'll share a personal story. So when I was in 11th standard, I went to my friend's house who had a dog, right? And I actually went to the house to play with the dog more than the pet, right? But the funny thing was, this is the first time I'm meeting this dog. And this guy just releases his pet on me. And that's a large Labrador, 40 kg, big dog, right? And I got scared at that time because I wasn't used to having them around so much, right? And I was running around in his house thinking, it's going to bite me or something like that. But that's not the case. That dog was just wanted to play with me, sniff me, and that's pretty much it. And after that incident, I don't think I've ever been in a situation where I felt afraid of a dog. In fact, if you talk to a trainer or behaviorist, they would say, be as confident as possible because a dog reflects what you show them. You show fear, they will try to dominate you. You show confidence, they will feel that you are the leader and they follow you.
Coming to the training aspect, so you mentioned about trainer and behaviorist, right? One of the good old fashion of training a dog, especially in India, is the stick training. Right? When I say stick training, not necessarily beat the dog to hell, but use a stick. Maybe give him a first hit so that he or she remembers. That's kind of the traditional approaches which most people use, unless they know that there's something called as dog training and all that. Do you think that has changed over the years?
Definitely. In fact, I would say people have used it for the human kids as well to some extent, right?
Right.
Probably our generation or previous to that also would have had some beating from their parents, right? Now the thing has changed for humans and pets both. Right?
Okay.
People are starting to learn there is something called positive reinforcement, right? You can reward a good behavior and teach your dog instead of hitting them. So I'll give you an example, right? For example, let's say your dog is barking, right? You want them to stop. You can very well show a stick and get them to stop barking at that time. But what do you think a dog might think of it? He will be afraid of you. He will have anxiety. Okay, my parent might hit me again, right? This will lead to more issues in the future. Instead, you teach them a quiet command. The moment you say quiet and he listens, you give them a treat. You give them a reward for the good behavior.
Right.
The moment you do that, they have associated, if I listen to this command and I do this, I get treats. It's a good thing for me.
Right. No, that's pretty much the same for humans as well, right? So if you hit a child with something, for the moment they may stop doing what they're doing, but it is not teaching them, it's basically stopping them for that time, and in future they'll somehow overcome it and it may become a bigger issue at that point.
Yes, definitely. They will retaliate.
So Nikhil, in your opinion, how should one choose a right dog breed? The reason I ask is, the most common thing that happens right now is whenever someone goes out to get a dog, they base it on their social image, right? I have money, I'll buy this big dog. I am a very aggressive personality. I need a very aggressive dog so that people get scared looking at me. But I don't think that's the right way, because choosing the right pet is the key thing to a happy pet parenting, in my opinion.
Totally agree with you here, right? I would break this down into 3 points, right? One is your family structure. Second is the time you can spend with your dog. And third is the environment or kind of house that you live in, right? So when I say family structure, let's say you have a toddler or a baby in your house, right? There are certain breeds which are very, very friendly towards the entire family, would be good for you. Something like
the Labradors?
A Labrador or a Golden Retriever. Right? They're good around the babies as well, right? If let's say you are someone who's a bachelor, right? You don't have to worry about even a larger dog. You can very well have a German Shepherd, Husky, anything is fine, right? Then it's the time. So while you're getting a dog, that is fine. But you have to spend enough time with them in terms of their exercise, taking them out for walks, run, all of it. So the large dogs, let's say Huskies, they need at least 90 minutes of exercise a day, right? If you're not giving that much exercise, your dog will become obese, will have a lot of physical issues, right? And let's say if you are someone who has a busy lifestyle, go for smaller breeds like a Shih Tzu. They are good for, if you take them out for 20 minutes a day for a walk as well.
The key to basically choosing the right dog breed is, number one, understand the dog's behavior, try to understand the history, and then see if you can consult with people as well who know dogs before you actually go and buy one, rather than just going and picking it on the basis of a social image.
Yes. I mean, social image is the last thing that you want to look at, right? You want to first look at your family structure, the time you can spend, and where you live. For example, if you live in Delhi and you want to get a Husky, you are going to make that dog suffer, right? They cannot stand that heat. Right? You get a dog based on the climatic condition or your house. Let's say you have a small house and you get a large dog. They don't have space to move around enough. Right? So when you start looking for a dog, you should look for the dog's behavior, characters, your climate condition, your family condition, right? And then filter out those breeds which are good for you.
Right.
In fact, if you look at, India, right? Indies are actually the best dog to have, right?
I agree.
They are well suitable to all the climate conditions. They have very, very high immunity, right?
Mm.
They have a very good guarding behavior towards their family, right? They will guard you, your friends and family, your kids, everyone.
There's also a huge debate, Nikhil, that you should never buy a dog or never get a dog from someone. Instead, you always need to adopt a dog, right? Which will help the strays and many other people who take care of a lot of these stray dogs. What's your opinion on that?
So I would say you should definitely adopt, right? Few things to keep in mind. For example, if you're a first-time pet parent, right? I would say adopt a very young dog, right? Because teaching a dog who is at the age of 1 year or a 2 year is very difficult, especially when you are a new pet parent, right? So first of all, try to adopt a younger dog if that's your first dog.
Mm.
If you have had dogs before, then it doesn't really matter. You can get any dog. You may have to sort of you deal with their traumas if they've had as well,
Mm.
right? I would say buying a dog is the only situation where you want a dog for a specific purpose. You want, let's say, a guard dog. You
Mm.
want a sniff dog, right? Which is not really the case for majority of us. We want dogs as a companion, and any dog can be your companion. You don't have to necessarily go and buy one.
Right. Understood. So you adopted a dog, right? Tell us the story.
Oh, great. So I adopted Maya, my
Mm.
dog, last year around November, right? So I would call Maya a miracle baby, right? So Maya's mother, she was abandoned by the breeders, right? Because she was sick. And if you look at the breeding industry, they would abandon the dog the moment they are sick, right? So a friend of mine rescued that mother, right? At that time, no one knew that mother was pregnant as well, right? So when Maya happened, in fact, Maya was the only baby who survived. So out of 4 pups, 2 couldn't survive at the time of birth, and another one also passed away later,
Okay.
right? That's why I call Maya the miracle baby. I mean, I never expected Maya to be in my life. It was completely random. One day, this friend comes to me asking, ki, I'm not able to take care of Maya because I already have 3 other dogs at home, and I'm not able to put her for foster or other people, right?
Mm.
So I was like, okay, fine, let me foster her for a few days, right?
Mm.
And I think that was it. I don't want to give it away.
Once you have a dog
Yeah,
for 2
yeah.
days, you don't want to give
Yeah,
it
yeah,
back.
yeah.
No matter how scared you are of dogs, once you live with them for a couple of days, right?
Yes.
The feeling is completely different.
Yes. I mean, the first day I was a bit worried about Maya, that will she be able to adapt to me? Because when I got her, she was around 7 months, 6 months, right? So,
Okay.
and she had sort of seen bunch of house shifts because my friend was also putting her for fosters at different places because she wasn't able to take care of her.
That would have not been easy for her as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it takes a lot of time to
Yeah.
adjust.
That is there, but I think now if I look at her, I see her happy, and that makes me happy.
Yeah, a good ending in a way.
Yeah.
So, so since after you took Maya, one of the key things that is now spoken about is dog anxiety. I've seen it firsthand. Can you explain what dog anxiety is and how you can overcome it?
In fact, I've also seen it firsthand with Maya because Maya has shifted her house multiple times.
Mm.
She's anxious about someone leaving her again. So when I used to leave her alone at the home, she would start crying, howling because she used to think, he's abandoning me again, right?
Right.
But these kind of things can be solved with the help of a behaviorist, right? A behaviorist is someone who would sort of understand your dog's mental issues, his psychological issues, the past traumas they may have based on the dog breeds, genetics as well, right? It's a very holistic approach. And then they try to solve these issues, right? Anxiety, again, can be because of multiple things. One is separation anxiety. Another could be out of fear as well. Something like if you have trained your dog with the help of a stick, right? They will be afraid of you and they'll be anxious, I might get hurt again.
Right. So you mentioned of dog behaviorist, right? A lot of people don't understand the difference between dog trainer and a dog behaviorist.
So a trainer is someone who will teach commands to your dog. Something like a sit, stand, spin, these kind of commands. Right?
Okay.
They will teach your dog to, let's say, pee outside the house. A behaviorist is someone, again, who is more emotionally or psychologically involved with your dog. Right?
Okay.
Your dog has any trauma or your dog has any sort of anxiety. A behaviorist will understand what's the root cause of it first and then gradually solve it. Right? It's a much more delicate approach with a behaviorist compared to a trainer.
We spoke of dog anxiety, Nikhil. So do you think exercise can help dogs manage their anxiety, and you also mentioned separation anxiety. Can you just elaborate on what that is?
So separation anxiety essentially means the moment you leave your dog alone, they feel anxious, where my pack is, right? They start thinking that I have been left alone, I have been kicked out of the pack. Now, what do I do? How do I survive? All those kind of questions they would have,
Right.
right? And that's make them anxious. They would run around the house, they'll probably tear up certain things, and you would feel your dog is being naughty. They're not being naughty. They are actually scared what is happening around them. They're trying to get a way out of the house and sort of try and get to you.
Right. That's a cause of concern, right? So you probably have to consult a behaviorist whenever you see that happens, or see something that you can do or give to your dog so that the anxiety does not come.
Definitely. I mean, whenever your dog is misbehaving, I would say instead of focusing on the misbehavior, you should figure out the symptom reason for it, right? For example, your dog being alone at the house, breaking stuff. The reason is separation anxiety. It's not a behavioral problem. You have to solve for that anxiety. Now, how would you do it in terms of a behaviorist? You start slowly training your dog. Leave them alone for 2 minutes. Teach them, for 2 minutes, it's okay. Eventually make it 5, make it 15. You gradually increase it. Don't just leave them alone for a day. I mean, that will make things worse.
Right. So I understand Kuddle also provides training and dog behaviorist services, right? Can you tell us a little more about that? Because I'll tell you one experience and then probably you can talk about it. So I have a pet. The dog ran into some issues and I consulted a behaviorist. Okay. So I went there and we had a discussion, but the consultation fee was very expensive. But I think when I checked Kuddle, again, I'm not promoting Kuddle here, but usually, so what people don't understand is having a pet is not cheap. Number one, it is expensive, or at least you spend as much as you would probably spend on a human, right? So how affordable services does Kuddle offer for behaviorist and training services?
So I think it has a range. It starts from somewhere 5,000 to and goes up to 18,000, right? And that completely depends on your need, right? What I tell people is when you get your pet at the very beginning, generally when they are 2 to 3 months old, you start the training process there itself, right? The earlier you start, the better it is for your pet to learn, right? At that point, they're a blank slate and learn very, very quickly compared to, let's say, when they are 2 years or 3 years of age, right? When it comes to something like behaviorist, I'll quickly tell you why we even started behaviorist.
Okay.
Right. So if you look at the unstructured market for behaviorist, right, people would give you random prices. Like someone would quote, I will take 5,000, I will take 8,000. They'll take the charges from you. And even if your pet is not trained, you have just paid the money. Now you have to find a different one. Right? There is no guarantee that, okay, I will train your dog, right? I will teach you. And funny thing about behaviorist is, right, behaviorist is training you more than the pet.
Right.
It's made mainly for you to learn more about your pet than the pet to do certain tricks or do some things, right? Because at the end of the day, you are the one who has to be the leader for that pack, and you have to guide the dog, right? A behaviorist will guide you how to sort of navigate through that journey, right? So at Kuddle, when we started this, we made sure we give you 100% money back guarantee. If you are not able to train your pet, we will give you the refund, right? We will give you as many sessions as you need.
Okay.
Right? So your general packages are, let's say, around 10 to 12 sessions, right? Which will be spread over somewhere from 1 month to 3 months, right? But if you're still facing some issues with your dog, we'll give you free sessions.
And
right?
you do not have a time limit for that. I mean, like let's say in the next 6 months, if you see any issue, then we'll give you money back. But post that, we are not responsible. No warranty period, things like that.
So there's a training period itself, right?
Okay.
So let's say you have taken 10 sessions, right? And your dog is not learning certain things, right? We'll first try to understand what is the issue. Like, is it because are you not practicing with your dog, right? Because that practice is important. If you do not practice, no trainer can actually teach your dog everything. Because then if it's just the trainer who is teaching, the dog will think the trainer is the alpha.
Right.
Which is something you don't want. Because the trainer will not be there in the house. You will be. So first question that we ask people is, are you training? Right? If you are training, we are sending you the trainer again and making sure that this gets resolved. The idea of this, the parents who are also there, right? they don't want a refund or anything. At the end of the day, they want their dog to be trained, right? They are also very collaborative here.
Okay.
This is the problem I'm facing. Sometimes people will accept maybe I think I did not give him time to sort of practice enough. I will try that and then come back to you.
Okay.
Right? Majority of the cases, we will end up giving people 4 or 5 extra sessions.
Okay.
Right? And then any issues which was also there now will get resolved.
Any success stories that you probably want to share about a very aggressive dog and how it was transformed? Anything that on top of your mind?
I don't think I will be able to take the names.
Yeah, please.
I mean, it's not correct. But yes, definitely. I think there are a lot of stories, right? And a common misconception that people have is if my dog is 2, 3, or 5 years old, I cannot train them, right? And a lot of people, I mean, trainer who calls themselves they're a behaviorist will be like, no, you can't train them, right? There's a big difference between a trainer and a behaviorist, right? A behaviorist is a much more veteran compared to a trainer, right? And these are the people that we ended up working with, training their dogs. People, there was someone who had a Great Dane, right? And the Great Dane bit the maid of the house, like actually bit him, right? So maid has to go to hospital, a lot of things, right? Now at this point, the family was thinking, should we even keep the dog?
Right.
Because, it might just attack someone else in the family, right? That's when a behaviorist comes in, right? First needs to understand, a Great Dane as a dog, right, has certain guarding responsibilities, right? That's his gene, right?
Right.
You need to understand that.
Right.
You also need to understand this dogs need a lot of exercise, right?
That's the key,
if
actually.
there is a frustration, there is a lot of pent-up energy, right? They will end up taking it out on something else, right? It might be a destruction, aggression, all of those things. A behaviorist will come and help you here, right?
Right.
And at the end of the day, that family also treats the dog like a child. They don't want to abandon it, right? It's just they were not aware. So when our behaviorists went there, they had like 5, 6 sessions.
Okay.
And they saw a clear change in the behavior of the dog, right? You have to do certain things. You have to definitely invest in your dog. You have to take them out for walks, challenge their brain, right? Give them puzzles to solve, right? There are dog puzzles as well, right? And you will see the change in the behavior of the dog. I have personally seen a lot of people complaining that, my dog is pulling on leash, right? He's destroying the furniture, all of these problems.
Jumping on people whenever someone visits.
Jumping on people, right? I'll tell you, most of these problems are because of frustration and pent-up energy, right? You're not taking your dog out for a walk enough, right? Your dog needs 1 hour. You're probably doing, 30 minutes ke liye I'll take.
And in between, they'll be watching reels as well. So
yeah, I mean, people will take their dogs out, only for pee and poop. You are supposed to walk with them for longer. It in fact builds a bond with your dog, because your dog is following the leader there when you're going out for a walk.
Right.
The moment your dogs start trusting you, they automatically follow you. They don't pull you. They pull you because they think I am the leader. I'll go wherever I want.
Right.
The moment they trust you, no matter where you go, you don't have to put on a leash or anything. They will just follow you.
The next thing I want to talk about is finding pet services. So you mentioned of how trainers are different, how behaviorists are different, but how do you find the right one, right? Whether it is for behaviorist, whether it is for your pet products, how do you find a reputable pet service? Because there are so many these days.
I think the one-stop solution is Kuddle at the end of the day.
But I thought you would say that, but yeah.
But let's say there is no platform like Kuddle. Let's say we are in that word, right? A few things that you should look at is first the reviews and ratings which are there, right? These things are generally available on Google, right? I would say try and get people with reference. Maybe if one of your friends might have tried it or something. Second, if these people have a center or something, go visit that. Go visit that multiple times and see what is happening there. For example, for something like a groomer, I would say you see, few dogs getting groomed, how they are handling the dogs, what kind of products they're using, what kind of equipments that they may have, right? It's quite important. When it comes to a trainer or a behaviorist, right? Talk to the people whom these people have sort of, served, right? You will get some sense of, how genuine this person is.
Don't just go by what is put on the internet.
Yeah. Do not just go by that. I mean, people can put fake reviews as well, right? So do your research properly, right? Because it's a new market. It's an emerging market, right? The supply is very limited. And hence they sometimes take advantage of you as well.
Right.
I mean, that's why it's always better to go via a platform like Kuddle.
Yeah.
But if we are not there, I would say just go and check these things before you take the service.
You mentioned about pet grooming, right? So, I mean, pet grooming, in my opinion, in the last few years, it's evolved completely, especially in Bangalore where I live. But what essentially is pet grooming? The reason I ask you, although I know what it is, when most of them would know what grooming means, there are many people who say that when you take your pet out for grooming, this is nothing. This is just a sophisticated way of spending your money, right? So what's pet grooming?
See, it's a little bit more than hygiene is what I would say for your pet, right? You take a bath, you would teach your kids to do that, right?
Give them manicure, pedicure to make them Bollywood stars.
I wouldn't suggest those things.
Yeah.
In fact, I would say avoid those things. But a basic hygiene is very, very important, right? Dogs catch a lot of diseases because of bad hygiene as well.
Right.
So if you look at the long coat breeds, like a Shih Tzu or a Golden Retriever, if you do not groom them well, not cut their hair properly or do not wash them, right, they will end up having knots in their fur, like which will cause a lot of issues for the dog itself. Then you have to entirely trim the entire fur off, which will again cause skin issues, right? Something like, let's say, your Indies also, right? If you're not keeping them hygienic, right, they will end up catching fleas, ticks, a lot of these problems as well.
And the tick fever is real. I mean,
It's
it is
deadly.
as good as dengue.
Yeah.
My pet had tick fever, and we had to admit the dog. And for almost a day, the dog platelets also came down. So it's as good as dengue.
Definitely, it's quite deadly. Like
Yeah.
lot of diseases in dogs, right? Canine distemper, tick fever, a lot of these diseases, right? A good hygiene, a good food, and good exercise. Basic principle that we use in humans as well, right? You need to do that for your dog as well.
So at Kuddle, do you also work with NGOs or shelters for anything at this point? Or
Yes, we do. In fact, I would say you cannot build a brand in pet care if you genuinely don't love for dogs, right? So we partner with multiple NGOs. We, in fact, take care of dogs around our office as well. We give them food. We take care of veterinary needs, right? So there's this one NGO in Bangalore which takes care of the dogs who are suffering from canine distemper.
right.
Now, canine distemper is a deadly disease. Once you have it, more or less your fate is sealed, right? So we sort of send our vets there, right?
Okay.
To make sure, you ease the pain, you improve the life of as many pets as you can there.
Okay.
Because a lot of people were even hesitant to go there. Because canine distemper is something like, similar to, I would say, COVID. If your doctor has gone there, we do not send the doctor anywhere else after this. You have to go home directly, bathe. Then only you can go anywhere else. You catch it like this. It's very easy to catch.
Okay.
So we try and help out these kind of NGOs,
Okay.
right? Where no one else is supporting.
Right. I think that's a great initiative, which pretty much not everybody understands, but that's a great thing that you're doing.
Also, we have this very engaging online community on the Kuddle app, right? We have over 50,000 people engaging there, right? So if you look at today's word, Kuddle is one of the best platform to adopt a dog, right?
Oh, you can do that from Kuddle as
you
well.
can do
Okay.
it from the Kuddle, right? In fact, I'll give you a number, right? 1 out of 3 dogs gets adopted within a week,
Oh.
right? So it's a good way for people to
Is it like, sorry to interrupt you, is it like the puppies, or is it like the dogs that are 7-8 months or a year old or more than that?
everything, right?
Everything.
There are people, there are times when people are leaving for abroad and sort of trying to give away their dog, they would come there. And what makes Kuddle the best place for doing this is everyone on the platform is essentially a pet parent, right? And they are more welcoming to adopting a dog who's being abandoned, right? So they end up adopting.
Really?
those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Surprised to know that. Okay.
So again, coming to the point that we were discussing earlier, right? When you're getting your first pet, you want to sort of get a very young one, but the second one you are fine with. You can very well get a 1-year-old, 2-year-old. It's fine. You can deal with those issues because you have already had a journey of raising one.
Right.
Apart from this, we do reflective collar drives, right? So
Can you elaborate on that?
yeah, so you would see a lot of dogs getting into accidents during the night time, right? So we put a reflective collars on the dogs, right? So basically, it's like a reflective. The moment there is some light, it sort of shines and sort of
It reflects so
reflects
that
the light.
we get to know there's something.
Yeah, there's something
in front.
there,
Yeah.
right? And great thing about this community is people sort of volunteer to put these reflective collars around the dogs in their area,
Okay.
right? So a lot of people sort of come to our office, pick those reflective collars up. Some people we sort of shipped it to, and we, I think, ended up distributing more than 1,000 last year.
next thing that I want to talk to you about is probably in India. So I was just doing some survey for this conversation, and it said that in India presently, somewhere between 11 to 12% of households have dogs, right? In US, UK, and probably other countries, the percentage is way higher.
Yes.
Okay, so there I think roughly the percentage was 67 or 65% in US, where 65% of households had dogs, and in UK I think it was somewhere around 47%. In your opinion, what are the major differences in the way dogs are brought up there and dogs are brought up here? Because I think dog everywhere is considered as a family member, but what are the key differences that you see?
So as you mentioned, right, 70% people in US have pets compared to India where 10% people are there, right? So the mentality of the people who are, bringing those dogs in their house is very different. There is a lot of hereditary knowledge which is coming in because my parents, their parents, they have had dogs, right? In those kind of countries, right? So in fact, fun fact, 80% of the dogs there are not trained, but their behavior is still better than most of the dogs here.
How so?
So it's just about lifestyle, right? From, let's say, if you look at US, right? Every hotel, restaurant, everything is pet friendly by default. In India, it's the opposite. If it's pet friendly, they will put up the sign it's pet friendly.
Pets are not allowed.
Yeah. There, it's by default pet friendly. If someplace which is not, they will put up the sign not pets not allowed, right? So they bring up their dogs in such a manner that from the very beginning, they are socialized with other dogs, right? They start teaching them manners because they take them everywhere they go. I go to a hotel or a restaurant, I am taking my pet with me. In India, sometimes we also think, I am going out to eat, but I can't take my dog, right? I'm not teaching them social manners then because I know I cannot take them only.
But I think the perception is also changing as we speak, right? There are, even if you go to any of these hotel booking websites now, you have an option to select pet friendly places.
Yes.
I think I hope that keeps going on.
It will go on. I think in the last 5 years, a lot of things have changed. Right?
Agree.
There has been a journey from pet ownership to parenting, right?
Right.
The dog was just guarding the house earlier, is becoming a member of the house now. Now
sometimes taking control over as well.
Definitely.
Yeah. Sorry, go on.
Right.
Yeah.
So people look for these things as well. And as the penetration of the pet market in the India in our country increases, right? Let's say right now it's 1 out of 10. The day it becomes 1 out of 5. We will start replicating the US market here, right? The behavior of the dogs and how we treat them, it will happen.
Right.
So if you look at, in fact, a country like Korea, right? The fertility rate is lower, but the dogs penetration is much more. More houses have dogs or any other pets compared to the kids.
Oh, that's interesting. I had not heard of that.
Yeah.
Okay. In India, when I was reading the survey, it also said that I think the pet industry is expected to grow at a rate of somewhere close to 19% in the next 10 years.
Yes.
That's the prediction, which is huge because, of course, 19% in India to 19% in US, UK, the numbers are completely different
definitely.
in terms of the population, right? So earlier we spoke of COVID and how you adopted the dog, right? Unfortunately, COVID affected all kinds of lives. It was not just humans who got affected.
Yes.
It was kind of pets also who got affected. I'll tell you a story. So there was this dog which was not in a good shape near my home, and this was during COVID. I think the lockdown was relaxed, and I saw the dog on the street. It was in a very bad state. So I called up a dog, a person who would basically help with the rescue. She came, we picked it up, and then she shared some stories. And she had 2 dogs. One of the dog, like you said, like how your Maya's mother was used for illegal breeding, the dog was used for illegal breeding and it was dumped in a place. And the other dog, something similar had happened to that as well. Now, the question I'm trying to ask is, do you think things changed after COVID hit from a pet standpoint and from a pet parenting standpoint? Because during COVID, many people were very close to their pets, which kind of contributed to the anxiety as well, right? Do you think things changed after COVID for pets?
I would agree to that. I think it has changed, right? Because now people are, it's basically for the journey from ownership to parenting. I would still come to that, right? People have some information now that, there are actually needs for the pets. The pets need love and attention, not just maybe the food that you're giving, right? It's also a being which is emotionally attached to you. not just someone guarding your house. You're giving them food and that's all.
And has the pet industry changed in any way after COVID? I mean, in terms of the services that were being offered, because before grooming services were there, but I don't think a lot of mobile grooming services were available. So I think that's also changed, isn't it?
Definitely. I think as the industry has increased itself, right, there are a lot of new things which have come in, right? If you look at 5 years from now, there was nothing like, grooming at your home. Now we do grooming at your home itself. Like you don't have to step out. You don't have to take your dog, travel in Bangalore, spend 5 hours a day, right?
Become anxious with the dog.
Yeah. I mean, in fact, your dog gets anxious when you take them out, right? So dogs, again, they are territorial, right? In their territory, in their home, they're very calm, peaceful. The moment you take them to a new place, they become a bit reactive, right? They become anxious there. It's essentially their flight or fight response.
True.
I have to be safeguarding myself, right?
True.
So when you take these dogs to a grooming salon or, anywhere else, and there are other, they will smell 10, 100 dogs out there. They sometimes become, anxious.
Right.
So in fact, doing something like a mobile grooming at home, that is much comfortable for your dog.
Nikhil, let's move on to the menace of having a pet. Okay. I live in a gated community, right? Unfortunately, there are some videos that come up where you see a dog, biting a child. Not just biting. It's very extreme. I just don't want to call it out, which is very unfortunate, right? And I don't understand sometimes why that happens. But whenever that happens, right, whenever something goes viral, all pet lovers are blamed for tiniest of things. This is my personal experience, right? Suddenly there are people who've not had problem with that pet, with a particular pet for a while. They start looking at it with a different view. And then suddenly the WhatsApp, the Telegram gets flooded with messages that we need to abandon pets. We need to get rid of all the pets. You can't allow strays, this, that and all. So there are some owners who are also responsible for it. So how do you think your services can help these people?
So let's break down these issues into 2 points, right? One is there are certain behavioral issues with the dog, right? Because they're not trained well. Sometimes it's also because the other person, maybe sometimes a child or someone else, sort of, triggered the dog. So even in my society, I'll give you an example. When I was walking Maya, there was some kids who were trying to run from the behind and try to sort of touch Maya's tail. Now, a tail for a dog is a very sensitive area.
I know.
Right? Now, if I do not correct those kids, they will try to do it to another dog as well. Right? And the dog might end up getting triggered or biting them. And then it becomes a huge issue that, this dog has bad behavior itself.
And all other dogs should be abandoned. That's the message that
and
comes up.
And that's what's happening in my society as well at that point, right? The first point which I told you is the behavioral problems, right? There are dogs, there are dogs which may have some behavioral problems, which can be corrected by taking behaviorist consultations, right? A behaviorist can help you understand, why these problems are there and how you can sort of resolve them, right? Something like, let's say, your dog is generally aggressive. A behaviorist will tell you why they're aggressive. Is it because of the, their genes itself, or do they have some trauma there? Is it because of pent up energy, right? They'll give you solutions for it. For example, if it's pent up energy, right? They will tell you to take your dog out for, more physical activities. Take them to an open ground, right? Let them run around, right? Let them solve certain treat puzzles which are out there in the market, right? Get their brain sort of, activated there a bit.
And I think socialization also plays a key role.
Definitely. In fact, what I would say is people who got their dogs during COVID, right? These dogs were raised within the 4 boundaries of the house. They were not able to socialize either with new humans or pets. So I have seen that these people generally end up coming to us, because their dog is not able to socialize.
And that also leads to aggression as well.
Definitely. Because, see, naturally, they have a territorial behavior. If someone else comes in that area, they feel, yeah, I have to fight or I'll run away. That's the 2 responses that they would have, right? Which leads to aggression, 2 dogs fighting because, this one is not able to go along with this one.
Right. To split it into 2 different things as to whatever you just said. So number 1, it could be because there is some underlying issue with the pet, could be a trauma, could be some sort of genes or other issue. The second most important thing is basically how the pet parents have not groomed it rather, but how the pet parents have trained or made their dog behave. Because ultimately it's their responsibility, so they also need to be responsible about it.
See, it's just like your kid,
Yeah.
right? If your kid misbehaves, it's also on the parent, right? They learn from their parents itself at the end of the day. Right?
What you see,
you will do what you see.
Yeah.
Right? It's very similar to that.
So I'll tell you my story. When I got my first dog, like I said, I adopted a dog. The dog had some aggression issues and all that, but I didn't know anything about the dogs, right? Anything about pet parenting. And my first source was internet. Right? If you go to internet,
Yes.
the internet will make you feel like a dog behaviorist in the beginning, and then when you fail, right, you will feel like a loser because that much of information is available, right? So I understand. We spoke of the blog that Kuddle runs. What are the key things that blog does for a new pet parent?
I would say not just a blog.
Okay.
A blog would give you some information. You need a bit more of that. Right?
Okay.
You need a conversational way to sort of get your queries answered.
So when you say conversational, so it is basically for every question or every comment or whatever is put, you make sure that you provide the right information,
Yes.
irrespective of whether that person is a Kuddle customer or not.
Yes, definitely. In fact, we do that. So
Okay.
the online community that I talked about earlier, right? It's a place you have any questions.
Okay.
Like something as simple as, can I give bread to my dog? Right? A doctor will actually answer that question. So this is the correct answer. You don't have to think twice. And that is completely free.
So it is not you and Akshay, the other founder who's responding. It is basically the people who are supposed to respond to that question.
Yes, it's a vet who is answering these questions.
One of the trending things these days is AI. You talk about AI, it's everywhere, right? How do you think AI can help pets, if it can? And how can AI change the pet industry?
I think it will help in two ways majorly. One, with the solving the information gap the parent has, right? When I say, there's an online community that we have where a vet is responding to you whenever you have a question. Let's say there is an AI who has been trained by those vets, right? You get an answer instantly. Maybe a vet will correct that answer after 5 minutes, give you a confirmation, but you get the answer instantly.
Do you use any kind of AI right now in
Yeah,
Kuddle?
we do definitely use it.
Okay.
I'll talk about it at the end, right? Apart from it, AI can also be used to monitor your dog's health, right? That industry is right now, completely new. No one has sort of stepped into that, right? It's a complete open market to sort of tackle, but can be game changer, right? A lot of pets today, right? You do not know how your pet is doing. You take your dog to a vet when they start showing certain signs of, let's say, pain or something like that. And dogs have very, very high pain tolerance. When they've started showing the sign, it already means that it's quite late, right? It's going to be a big treatment. But something like an AI coming in, right? It could start detecting those signs earlier, right? I may start recording a video of my dog and ask the AI engine, is something wrong with my dog? It might think, let's say your dog is licking the paw too much. There might be fleas because of which it's doing that, right? So that AI can definitely be a game changer in the pet health industry.
So probably we'll have to wait and watch.
I think Kuddle would be there.
Great. So I think we are towards the end of this conversation. A couple of things that I want to talk about. Now, for me, as a person to go out and get any pet services, I really had to trust them. Without having trust, I would not buy or not take the services. I'll give you an instance. We have a dog walker in our gated community. He walks around 8 dogs. Okay, and if you come to my society on any day, you'll see him walking around the society. Maybe one round, he'll go out, make the dog pee or poop. Then he'll take out his phone. Then he'll sit, watch reels, and then he'll come back. Same thing with the second dog and so on. But he walks 8 dogs in a day. Okay. So, the reason I'm bringing this up is because I think you have dog walking services as well, right? So, how can someone trust Kuddle? Because a lot of companies come up and say that, we do this, we do that. But is there any way that they can trust that you're delivering whatever you're saying?
Definitely. I think you have brought out a common problem that people face. My dog walker will take my dog out, but I don't know if he's actually walking the dog or not.
Right.
So that's where we came up with a live tracking solution. Right. So,
Okay, live tracking.
So whenever our dog walker comes and picks up your dog, I will give you a live tracking where he's walking. So if he's walking around the society, you will actually see it live location on your phone.
Okay.
You will see how many steps they have taken. You will see how many kilometers they have covered. Right. So on an average, within 30 minutes, our walker will cover around 2 kilometers.
Okay.
Right? So every walk, you know that your dog is walking 2 kilometers.
Right. So they can track in real time.
Yes, you can track in real time. You don't have to worry about he's sitting somewhere scrolling reels, right? Because you have that number, right? That brings that trust.
One last question to you, Nikhil. How different is Kuddle to other pet services that we have? Other than your unique pronunciation of the name Kuddle.
Great. So I'll come to why the name Kuddle itself first.
Okay.
Right. So when me and Akshay started this, right, we were thinking, the name has to be very cute, right? It has to be something close to the parent's heart, right? And we generally see, everyone is like always cuddling with their dogs.
Right.
So that's where the Kuddle with the K sort of started, right? So we started with the name there. How Kuddle is unique from others is, right? So at the very core of Kuddle, right? As I said earlier, we are pet parenting partners. We are not sellers.
Okay.
I do not promote, let's say, buy this service from me or do this for a dog. No. I will always tell you that this is the right thing for a dog at this time. Right? I want to support you in your journey. Right? Services is just a part of Kuddle.
Okay.
We are first your partners. Right? We want to help you, take care of your dog in the best possible way. Right? We got services here because there were no service partners in the market who could be trusted. That's why we got services, right? It's more of an extension to Kuddle, right? We will verify all the service partners. We train those service partners ourselves, right? So that we make sure that every equipment that they use, we give them the equipments.
Okay.
We give them the shampoos, any equipment which is there.
So you have standard set of equipments that you would use for all your services.
Yes. So you know that if your partner B is also coming, right? Both are gonna be same. You don't have to worry about the quality, trust, anything. Right?
Okay.
I'll tell you a few numbers about our business matrix
Sure.
as well, right? So 98.4% of our services are on time. When I say on time, it means, let's say if I booked an appointment for 3 p.m., within a 5-minute buffer, he will be there at your home.
Okay.
Try doing that with a local service provider. You'll keep waiting for hours.
Right.
Right?
We're just here, sir. We're coming to you, sir. Just wait for 5 more minutes.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the response you get.
Sir, are you there? Yes, I'm coming.
Yeah. I'm just standing outside your building. Yeah,
Yes.
but yeah.
These things are there. I mean, everything comes from the fact that all of us at the organization really love their pets. Right?
Okay.
More than 50% of the employees have pets of their own. Right? The ones who do not have right now, I know that they'll end up getting soon.
Yeah, I know. But where do you see the future of the pet industry?
So I see, as you said earlier, that industry is growing at a 19% CAGR, right, for the next 10 years, right? So I see a lot more penetration in the Indian market, more houses having pets, right? And also this information gap being reduced a bit, right? People actually understanding what their dogs need, right? It's not about just spending money. It's also about spending at the right place and at the end of the day, taking care of your dog, right? A lot of things that will come in, like I mentioned earlier, right? AI in health tech, that will revolutionize the health sector for pets, right? Then we also at Kuddle use AI a lot, right? For something as simple as, which partner should visit your house, right? We'll make sure, let's say, for example, there's a partner who is great with Shih Tzus, right? And you have a Shih Tzu. If there are 10 partners here, I'll make sure I'll send you the best one.
Okay.
Right? We use that there.
Okay.
Let's say when you want to...
Sorry. This sounds... No. This sounds very interesting. So you mentioned you use AI to also assign delivery partners, right? So basically it's... So you give an example of a Shih Tzu dog. So wouldn't you have customers who will say that I liked this person's service before? Please send that person only each time.
Yes, we do that as well. Like you have an option, right? You can select the previous partner that you have taken, right? Or you can just go with the best available partner. There we sort of make sure the best one goes to your house, right? And if you like the last one, you will most probably get that one as well.
Right.
And one thing that we do at Kuddle that no one in the pet care industry is doing is the recommendation is right? E-commerce. So let's say when you go buy products for your pets, let's say you want to buy food, you're not sure which food is the right food for my dog.
There are so many brands
There
available.
are so many brands out there. Every brand has 5 variants, right? Similarly in treats also, there are 10 treats available in the market, hundreds of treats available in the market. Which is the right one for my dog? And that variant also keeps on changing with the age, with the breed of the dog, everything. We exactly tell you this is the right one for you.
How do you do that?
So we create profiles for your dog.
Okay.
Right? So for example, I have Maya. So Maya is a husky. She's a female, right? Her weight is 17 kg, right? I have a lot of parameters for my dog as well, right? Now, based on these parameters, we identify the best products which are there for you. Right?
Okay.
In fact, one thing that you would find probably surprising that we do it is we'll give you the size also for a harness. So when you have to buy a harness, right? It's very difficult to buy it online. Like, I know I will get it. I'll have to return, exchange, do 2-3 cycles of it.
Right.
I will tell you the exact size. Right? This size, let's say M, will fit your dog.
Okay.
I will tell you that exact thing.
So complete dog profiling.
Yes, complete dog profiling. Right? Our return rates are as low as 2%. Industry goes above 8%. Right? And it's not about return rates. It's more about the experience the customer gets. Right? I don't have to always go to a store, make the dog wear the harness, try that out.
Right.
I know I'll get the right size always from Kuddle. Right? So I just have to go there. The AI engine will tell you this is the right size for you.
Okay.
And you just move forward with that. It's simple. I mean, the job of AI is not, it's about, since it's trending, so you use it. It's not about making things fancy. It's all about making things simple as possible.
Right. Great. So I am eagerly waiting for some of the things that you mentioned. I've checked out Kuddle, but I think I'll go back and look at few more services. And definitely after this conversation, I will tell all my friends who have pets to please take a look at Kuddle and the services that you offer. Nikhil, thank you so much for agreeing to do this in the first place. I think I had some great conversation. This is one of the key themes which is very close to my heart, right? Whenever you say pet, people that know me know how much I like pets. So I really had a great time with this conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I think I also enjoyed the conversation a lot. I hope from our conversation, some pet parents learn about the dog behaviorist and these things like that. And instead of, blaming their dog because they are doing something bad, actually start understanding, why is that they are doing this.
Right. Please check out Kuddle. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was the episode for today. Again, I hope that you liked the conversation. If you did, please share this with your friends who have pets. Please share this with your friends who do not have pets, because at some point in time, they may decide to get a new one. And the topics that we discussed today would definitely be helpful to them. Before I let you go, make sure that you hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon. Please follow us on all our social media handles. That's on Instagram, Facebook, X, and LinkedIn.